Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I'm taking a look at the Sony a6700 for 2023, well, now 2024. So Sony just delivered this review unit to my door. Excited to share it with all of you, because even though this camera has been on the market for roughly 6 months, it is still standing alone, in my opinion, as one of the best mirrorless APS-C cameras on the market. In fact, you probably could make the argument it's one of the best, and that's because at $1,400 US, you are getting a camera that has a 26 megapixel APS-C sensor, AI, the same AI chipset found in Sony's flagship a7R5 that pretty much set the standard for the industry. You're also getting 4K 120, yes, with a 1.5 times crop, but still better performance than you're going to get from any other manufacturer. You can, of course, shoot in 4K 60 as well with no crop, even more impressive. It does do 10-bit. You can bring in your own LUTs. I mean, so much capability, 11 frames per second. You have a mechanical shutter, which you may not have expected, even though we're using the exact same sensor from the FX30. We have, unfortunately, an old yet very competent battery in the FZ1000. Hopefully we see an update soon, because this camera averages a little over 500 shots on a power cycle, whereas the a6600, which precedes it by many, many years, was clocking in over 800 shots. And that's indicative of the fact that the technology Sony has crammed in here, between the new sensor, the new AI chipset, and the new processor, Bion's processor driving the whole experience. All of that's new, including some ergonomic changes to the body, but we're still working with old battery technology, which 5 years ago was cutting edge, and now, well, it's getting a little tired. But this is one area Sony can get away with, because literally everything else on this has been upgraded outside of the EVF and screen. But the screen did get the capability to flip around, which is a big deal in the a6000 lineup. Only 1 million dots here, not very high res on the EVF, but they are both still going to be serviceable. We also have a new control dial here, something Sony's been implementing into all of their bodies. Quick ability to switch from still, video, and S and Q. Your traditional dial, no joystick, but you do have your directional thumb pad, and then you do have now a front dial as well. So definitely more customization on this camera. We come around to the left side of the body, and that's where you're going to find your single SD card slot. It is UHS 2 compatible, so you're going to want V90 cards if you plan on using video capability at its highest capability, 600 megabits per second. And then above that, if I can get this door open, we've got our microphone and Type-C port. That is a USB 3.2 Gen 2 port, which is the fastest interface Sony's ever put on a camera, so 10 gigabit. And then down here, you've got your HDMI out, sadly not full size, but will all live, and a headphone jack for monitoring. So just a clear sign that this is not aimed at pros, but then when you think about its photo capability, 11 frames per second with still having best-in-class eye detection, and now the AI capability, you have auto framing, all of those features that launched originally with the ZVE1, and then the A7R5, of course, being the beginning point. All of that's in here. The new menu system, touchscreen on the display, and again, 4K 120 that you won't find from anyone else in the industry, 10-bit video, the ability to bring in your own LUTs, just so much going for it. Just something to keep in mind is that while this is probably the best hybrid APS-C camera ever made, if you're looking to shoot exclusively in long format video, this is not the tool for you, because even though it's using the exact same sensor as the FX30, it has no active cooling and it is likely to overheat. So if you're shooting even 30, maybe 40, 50 minute samples, or I should say clips, you probably will be fine. But again, if these are paid assignments, this is not going to be your tool. It could be a B, C cam easily, but not something that needs to be relied on for professional purposes for long form video. But knowing how good the autofocus is, because again, this camera's been out for over 6 months, well, since announcement, knowing how good the video quality is, it has less rolling shutter than any of the competition. Forget that it also outperforms the competition in terms of video capability. I mean, what is not to like about the a6700? And at $1,400 US, this will only go down in price over time, but still be more competent than pretty much anything on the market. So a lot to like here. I mean, you got the kitchen sink or Swiss Army knife of Sony cameras. It's only a little over £1. Pair something like, again, the 18-135 kit lens that Sony sent over with this guy for review, and you have a lightweight travel camera that can do everything. 5-axis stabilization in body. Of course, you still have active steady shot. You've got the AI helping you out in many different ways with detecting your subjects and tracking them, which really takes the AF system that's on here, which I think comprises of 753 total points, over 93% coverage of the sensor. It just takes it to the next level because, well, it's not just relying on that hybrid autofocus system. Throw on something like this wide angle prime 15 mil f1.4, and you have an incredibly compact ultra wide angle machine. And, you know, it'll be interesting to see where the buffer tops out, but to my knowledge, it's somewhere over 50 shots. So, you know, if you've got V90 UHS-2 cards in here, you're going to be set. I mean, this is really ideal for anyone trying to figure out which card would be a good option. I'll just bring this little guy into frame. Again, the Sabrent 0.5 terabyte V90 card performs incredibly well. That would be my go-to option. I'll throw a link in the video for that as well. But there you have it. Again, what looks to be, likely is, one of the best cameras on the market, especially if you're looking to keep things light. Anyone who follows my channel knows I went through major surgery, and it equates to not being able to carry anything that's really heavy anymore. So cameras like this appeal to me even more. And also, this is where my love with Sony's DI offerings really began. It was that Sony was aiming to reinvent our expectations of what small cameras could do, which was deliver performance like the much larger digital SLRs. And this is where they started. And I'm glad to see them come back. It took a long time to finally succeed the a6600, but I can easily say, even though this is just my first look, that the a6700 not only does that, but I think it exceeds expectations in just about every way because it delivers, again, in a 1-pound package, a hybrid camera unlike any on the market. Turn to Canon or Nikon, they will have worse rolling shutter, and you know, the 4K 120 performance will not be as good because it will not be taken from a 6K sample. In addition to that, none of those cameras really have the lens ecosystem. I mean, there's just nothing to compare. So if small and light, but no performance corners cut is what you're after, the a6700 looks like the camera to own here in 2024, even though we've just began this year. So again, just a first look. Again, great video capability, great still capability with that 26 megapixel sensor, new ergonomics. I think the only downside, which I've mentioned, is that battery life maybe, not maybe, it should be better. We need a new battery. Until we get a new battery type, we can expect you know, our run times to go down. But remember, with that, if I can get it open, with that Type-C port there being USB 3.2 Gen 2, of course, power delivery is also going to be working better than ever. So that will offset the fact that you've lost, of course, some battery life. But that pretty much rounds things out. Any questions or comments about the a6700, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe and please stay safe. Later.